Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shabbat Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. And I'll be profiling, a little bit of this video from World Affairs and Context's YouTube channel, which is Lena Petrova's YouTube channel, which she goes into a lot of finance and economics, dealing with the way things are currently going. And the title of this video reads, "Banks are terrified. Crypto bill passes Congress, stablecoin, and Trump's $1 billion increase in wealth." And hey, what she's going to go into with this video is something called the Genius Act, which just further solidifies cryptocurrencies and digital currencies as the path forward to the main means of buying and selling and finance in the United States. But hey, we know it's going globally as well. And this is ultimately another step towards the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation 13 verses 16 to 18, which is the RFID/NFC micro C-hip implant. But before we get started, I'm going to get Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 1 to 3. And the header reads, "God answers the prophet, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the true men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that are coming in the spirit of GMS, who from our apostles and elders on down for the last, damn near 20, 30 years have been telling you that the mark of the BEAST is going to be that C-hip implant." Verse 2, "And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables," which is what we're doing by going out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this online, "that he may run that readeth it. The hopeful elect hear the words of the prophets, and what? They act accordingly, doing whatever they can to come back to their power. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, to hope to be protected from the hour of temptation, which is quickly coming to try, the people on the earth." Verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." And as we're about to see in this clip, hey, this prophecy is not tarrying, but quickly coming to its fulfillment. This is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
In a historic moment for the crypto world, Congress passed the first ever federal legislation to regulate stablecoins. This is a massive victory for digital assets without a doubt, and it is also a decisive step toward integrating crypto into mainstream finance.
A decisive step in integrating crypto further into every asset of society. And what did Lena Petrova say? It was a federal action that took place through the government. And like we've been telling you, Bitcoin, these other cryptocurrencies, these digital currencies were never going to be a means for people to get out of this central bank system. The powers that be have a hand in that as well. They just push them out there to get you people acclimated to eventually using digital currencies and ultimately getting that C-hip. And they further massage the idea into you with what happened during 2019 to 2021 with what? Contactless payments, social spacing, having QR codes that you would scan on your phone, to look up menus and other things, and paying on your phone with what? Cash App, Apple Pay, Venmo, Chimes, etc., etc.
The bill was fully backed by Republicans, and it was originally championed, as you may know, by President Trump himself. Now, the bill is officially called the Genius Act. Yes, so first we had the big beautiful bill, and now we have the Genius Act. So the Genius Act creates a regulatory framework for stablecoins, those dollar-pegged digital tokens that move across platforms 24/7. And with that, a $265 billion market of crypto is suddenly primed for a massive expansion, with projections pointing to a $3.7 trillion market by the end of this decade. So in my view, when you hear about this bill, you have to understand one thing. The president's considerable personal investments and the personal investments of his family into cryptocurrency, it made many policymakers question his true motives.
And hey, Trump is the ultimate puppet of the elites. You know, all these presidents have been puppets, but he's just fast tracking, every goddamn thing. For one, the Epstein files didn't get released and are never going to get released. And then what? A couple of months ago, he passed the Project Stargate, which put up $500 billion to build up AI infrastructure in this company. And he was surrounded by a bunch of tech billionaires, technocrats, TRANS humanists who are pushing towards this digital cashless society. These 15-minute cities and, those bug burgers that they want you to enjoy. You own nothing and you'll be happy.
Pushing the bill through.
Slovakia Day,
Aw,
man.
Walter on Gotcha Day. So tiny.
Need extra room?
Now take a look. According to Politico, more than 4 months after he took the Oval Office, President Donald Trump's business empire is quickly establishing itself as a new crypto empire. Trump Media and Technology Group, whose stock is majority owned by Trump, unveiled plans to raise $2.5 billion to finance a Bitcoin buying spree. Bloomberg here is reporting Trump Jr. invests in social media firm Building Crypto Hoard. Forbes recently published this interesting article titled "Donald Trump is cashing in on crypto over the last 9 months. Beginning slightly before the election, he has stirred up new ventures, new coins, and new noise. All of it makes the president money, but how much? About $1 billion, lifting his net worth to an estimated $5.6 billion. So now that we got that part out of the way, let's talk about the new legislation. This legislation isn't just a policy win. This is a effectively political coming of age, if you will, for an industry that was nearly buried under the rubble of scandals like the FTX collapse. In just 3 years, crypto actually went from a trust crisis to sitting at the president's desk, ready to be signed into law. The Genius Act sets clear federal and state level oversight for issuers of stablecoins. It requires these issuers to hold dollar-for-dollar reserves in short-term government bonds or other approved instruments. In simple terms, if you want to issue a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, you must prove that for every single digital dollar that you create, there is a real one backing it somewhere, and that it is safely regulated.
And the U.S. dollar is fiat currency. It's not pegged to gold or silver. And we already know that the government, the Federal Reserve, which isn't even a part of the government, prints dollars ad infinitum, so they can make as many stable coins as they want.
Supporters say that this adds legitimacy to the crypto sector, which is a substantial boost to anyone who's investing in crypto assets. And I hope that it now closes the loop. Eswar Prasad of the Brookings Institution, for example, even described the regulation as a light touch, but just enough to make the industry credible in the eyes of big investors, institutions, and even skeptical consumers. The bill is definitely a signal that crypto is no longer just a fringe asset class, it's being woven into the fabric of the US financial system. Of course, this victory didn't come without drama. It was the crown jewel of what House Republicans dubbed Crypto Week. The Genius Act was nearly derailed by hardline conservatives, forcing the House into a record-breaking 10-hour vote just to bring the bill to the floor. The breakthrough came only after several backroom meetings, including several with Trump himself. Members of the House Freedom Caucus originally opposed to federal.
I'm just on a phone call right now.
You can put it back in front of mine.
I got you.
All right.
Yes, Salakia.
Overreach flipped their votes after Trump reminded them just how central crypto was to his economic vision and, of course, his bank account, as we can tell. So what was the final tally of the vote? It was 308 votes to 122 votes. A broad coalition, every Republican but 12 voted yes, joined by 102 Democrats. But of course, not everyone is celebrating. The clear
Hey, so the majority of Congress is on board with it because you only have an illusion of choice when it comes to voting. Hence why whoever gets in office or whatever senators or congressmen get in there, it always moves in the same direction, towards the agenda of the elites, which is ultimately this digital cashless society. Which, real quick, we're gonna come back to this revelation, of course, if you know, you know. But this is Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to read verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. Hey, speaking of America. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And those 2 horns like a lamb goes into this political system. The Republicans and the Democrats that tell you Americans that are on each side what you want to hear. But it says, and he spake as a dragon. Like I just said, they're ultimately moving towards the same goal of their puppet masters, the elites. But now I'm going to jump to the 5-minute and 53-second mark.
Decentralized bank.
On earnings calls this week, they acknowledged the growing threat of stablecoins to traditional payment systems. Think about it. If consumers can move dollars instantly via stablecoins with lower fees and no middlemen, why rely on your bank? And of course, they make a good point. This is an excellent point. The bill is a first step toward a possible banking system overhaul, and likely not without victims.
And hey, that's ultimately only going to affect these smaller banks to medium-sized banks, which are already shutting up shop. These major banks are still going to be here, and you're still going to be caught in this central banking system. But it's just another step towards further massaging you people into accepting cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, and this cashless society, and ultimately that CHIP.
Stablecoins could pull billions in deposits out of traditional banks and into digital wallets. And with clear rules now in place, we could soon see stablecoin-based debit cards, paycheck deposits, cross-border transfers, even everyday shopping. The industry is
buying and selling. And when she say paychecks, and we know Donald Trump is already moving to get paper checks out of the way, as well as officially getting rid of the penny. They're going to go to the nickel next, dime, work their way up, eventually the US dollar as well.
Evolving from speculation to infrastructure, and this is precisely what this bill has done. The Genius Act is just phase 1, a broader regulatory.
And if somebody's calling you a genius, that's not a compliment. When you look into it, a genius goes into a high-level demon.
Package. The Clarity Act also passed the House this week. It aims to define the rules of the entire crypto ecosystem, from how digital assets are classified to how exchanges and DeFi protocols are actually regulated. But the bill...
And remember, in that big, beautiful Bill Act, there's a stipulation in there to where for the next 10 years, people won't be able to criticize, the implementation of AI, which, AI is going to be running this entire system. So you people are further getting trapped into this digital net. But that's it with this video. Now I'm going to read a little bit of this article from the Salon.com. And, they got that old saying, a broken clock is right twice a day. And the title reads, Green warns of mark of the BEAST, Gabbard cries deep state coup. A wild week for right-wing seaspiracies. Marjorie Taylor Greene's cashless society is mark of the BEAST, DNI claims deep state coup. And, we're not going to deal with Tulsi Gabbard. We're going to deal with what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say about the Genius Act. On the same platform just days earlier, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene shared her own warning, this time about a cashless economy, quoting Bible verses and referencing Revelation 13, 16 to 17. Greene claimed that digital currency initiatives like the Genius Act signal the mark of the BEAST system, a biblical motif that signals the end times. And hey, it's a stepping stone towards it. I am not voting for the MOTB system, she wrote, in opposition to efforts that would modernize digital ID and financial systems. I am not voting for the MOTB system. Totally happy and content being 1,000% no. I will not vote for this. The only way to guarantee a ban on a central bank digital currency is through law. The Genius Act does not ban CBDC or maintain people's chain of custody. And she put Revelation 13, 16 to 17. This just goes to show that old Marjorie ain't a good Christian, and she's an Edomite at that, so-called white person, because if you're truly about the Bible, you want the MOTB to come, because that means the second coming of the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, whose true name is Yahushua, and he's only coming for the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who through the scattering and the curses have come to look like these heathens, and even at that, only the elect right now. In her post, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tied the push toward a cashless society to the biblical MOTB, but many scholars, many dunces, dispute that interpretation. A theologian, who probably went to a seminary school, explained in eschatological commentary, which just means the study of end times, that the mark in Revelation 13, 16 to 17 was not about credit systems or digital payments. It was an economic symbol of allegiance, not tied to modern technology or monetary systems like CBDCs or cryptocurrencies. The mark served to distinguish those aligned with the beast in the ancient world, not to track purchases via digital devices. Well, hey, if it was talking about the beast in the ancient world, then Yahushua should have made a second coming by now, and we should be in the kingdom of heaven. So, just another cut to these theologians. The wisdom of this world is foolishness to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. And as it says in 1 Corinthians, the Most High has chosen the lonely, the despised, and the base things to confound those that are in high positions, those that are wise. And he's speaking of his men, the prophets, who by today's standards the majority of people would refer to as niggers, spics, tontos, thugs, welfare recipients, all the negative connotations they have towards us. But I want to reread one part where it says, a theologian explained in eschatological commentary that the mark in Revelation 13, 16 to 17 was not about credit systems or digital payments. It was an economic system, an economic symbol of allegiance. But what's going to tie all these different countries, together under the elite's banner? That CHIP implant, which not just America, but, China, Russia, these European nations are all pushing towards digital currencies and a digital cashless society. That's pretty much it with that. But This is 1 Corinthians 14. I'm going to read verses 32 to 33. The spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets because reincarnation is biblical, and the men who were prophets in the past have come back today in their same lot to do the same thing. So if you weren't a prophet in the past, you're not going to be a prophet today. And if you're not a prophet or of the elect, and you're not going to understand, the prophecies or the mysteries of these scriptures, you're going to be shooting every which way but loose. Verse 33, for the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace in all churches of the saints. And you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And the Most High is not the author of confusion, because with his men, again, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, hey, we're going into these scriptures and breaking them down to you with 144% clarity. But now, let's go to Revelation 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, that he, being the elite rulers of the planet, who are of the nation of Esau, Edom, your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers, the DuPonts, Gettys, you name it, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now let's see what this economic symbol of allegiance is. This is mark in the Strongs, which is G5480, Haragma, a stamp, an imprinted mark. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the so-called Antichrist or anti-Hamashiach, which the Antichrist isn't Sam Neill in a black suit with 666 behind his ear and a briefcase. The Antichrist or anti-Hamashiach is just a spirit out here, which there are many anti-Hamashiachs, and that's just anybody who's going against the true understanding of the scriptures or Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But as we can see, it's talking about some kind of physical object, which is that C-hip implant. Now I'm going to go to the root word, which is G5482, Hodix, which says what? In the Strong's definition, to sharpen to a point, akin to G1125, through the idea of scratching, another physical act. And the Hodix is the syringe that's going to have the Haragma in it to scratch or edge into your skin. And then when we get the root word for that, it's G1125, grapho, which in the outline of biblical usage says, to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record your banking information, your biometrics, your health information, everything about you, your social credit score, all tied to that C-hip, which in verse 17 says, and that no man might buy or sell, get a job, travel abroad, do anything in society. And remember what Lena Petrova said about those stable coins in the Genius Act. It could revolutionize the way people use digital currencies to buy and sell, do banking, have a digital wallet. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the Haragma, or the name of the BEAST, or the number of his name. And again, back in Habakkuk 2 verse 3, though it tarry, wait for it will surely come, it will not tarry. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shabbat Shalom.